Okay, hi. My name's Carrie, and I have to make this speech really fast so that I can upload it. So it's not too long, like all the other ones were. Do you think I'm taking too much time with this? Probably. Should I restart? Nah. Okay, hi. I love words. I'm crazy about them. Ha ha ha. Actually, I actually sort of am in both senses. And it also just so happens that crazy is a word I love especially. So, yay, that's me. I'm crazy about crazy. This word, and more specifically, how this word is used, is what writer Katie Klavushik doesn't like at all, in an article entitled Replace Crazy with the Adjective You Really Mean. And everywhere, forever, a room full of fourth graders, all of them ever, just groan in unison, because that's what it sounds like to me. I object to this attitude for so many reasons, the foremost of which being that crazy is an adjective with a vast definition because it lacks a definitive connotation. Crazy does not, however, as the author insists, lack definition. I suggest that perhaps she lacks the nuance to discern what this definition is, except that she defines it beautifully. Anything that feels indescribable or beyond explanation. Wow! Has this woman then never been crazy? Because, yeah, that's pretty much exactly what it is. For me, in the aftermath of having been properly insane for a somewhat significant portion of my life, thanks to misdiagnosis and mishandling, I found the adjective crazy to be a pretty indispensable and reliable descriptive utility because insanity is indescribable and beyond explanation. It's so crazy. So is rhythmic gymnastics. So is Ken Jennings. This makes the argument so amazing to me. What is that after it's been normalized is a stupid time for mental health to disown something? Yes! I'm the goat. No, okay, whatever. I'm a Capricorn. Alright. So, it's a true fact that vast words tread on the exact. However, when you get into the journalistic standards, the opposite occurs at least as often. The license to overuse is staggering. Everything's always explosive and breaking, stunning, and devastating. You see, the evidence may be mounting. As much crazy stuff isn't called out as such over political correctness as what gets mistermed crazy because, indeed, people are often lazy. But the more pertinent flip side is that crazy has no synonym, so protect endangered wildlife. Inevitably, then, therefore also, there is no colloquial monopoly on this string of letters. Its applications are boundless. And mental illness is something the author and I do have in common. However, crazy is not something mental illness has trademarked. The proliferation of the End the Stigma campaigns on social media in recent years have given rise to this extremist subset mentality of nobody say crazy. Like, it's not just this author, it's scarily enough, it's an actual thing. Like, nobody at all ever again, just don't say it, okay? Like, it's just gonna fix something, just really. And really, that's a crazy idea, for lack of a real one. So the author has ascribed to this position and is in fact writing to celebrate herself for the decision to never say it again on Twitter. She's even made a hashtag about it, which has crazy in it. Process it, I can't. So let's think about who else does not have the publishing rights to CRAZY. The author. She doesn't. And this is what struck me as being what's actually the object of her disapproval, and that what she can't stand to see is the word that she came to identify by running around space and time speaking the minds of other people. She doesn't own it, can't own it, never owned it. She could disown it if she were genuine, but she isn't doing that. She's just trying to own it harder and weirder and backhandedly. Because now she's like a pioneer on this crackdown on crazy. She opens with like, now I replace crazy with the adjective I actually mean. And then she like poses the question to the audience, whose members I can't imagine what that consists of. But she goes on to ask, isn't it finally time we all agreed to do the same? Who is this we all, like, exactly? Like, and you'd be a lot more specific, because nowhere is Twitter groaning, because they're all looking at anything else that isn't that. The objectivity is comprehensively excluded, and then it's just furthermore, like, just, like, all voided by, for the rest of the criticism until, like, the dead very end, for, like, half a sentence. She doesn't even mention Twitter or explain the heightened significance of that platform for language, which is forever in evolution, and why greater care, might be considered and taken there. She doesn't do that. Instead, she does the worst thing there possibly is for mental illness solidarity, which is, like, basically blame the word crazy for her problems. Like, Katie, if it would have been any easier at all for you without that construct, then I can understand your possessiveness a little bit more, because you are just crazy, and I'm sorry your culture has been misappropriated, but the good news is that psychiatrically you're intact. Mentally ill for sure, but it does not take a neurological disease to be that. Neurological disease affecting higher order processing, aka psychiatric disease, mental illness, etc., whatever. People like myself with those diagnoses have wiser battles to pick with vernacular than crazy. For instance, like Cool Cat. By the way, I love jazz music, and crazy got its positive spin and off jazz, so, but I'm leaving that part out. For instance, though, I'm seriously mentally ill. Like, I am seriously mentally ill. And now that I'm not what I always will be, yeah, that's some dehumanizing slander. That's pretty unflattering. It's a futility that literally, I mean, it's crazy. It's beyond description. There it is. Crazy in action. So what is criticism then, since this obviously isn't it? Being an overwrought anecdote which declares informed influence as its intent at the outset, but then proceeds to just pretty much be a baggage carousel. Well, it's an opinion which is ethically undernourished to be engaging in persuasion. Trademark that one. Criticism, alternatively, is an opinion which is not undernourished to be engaging in persuasion. An opinion which ought to be. It's an opinion which ought to be part of the conversation. This one is not. And finally, just, to disclaim, I only suspect myself, at best, of being vaguely rational about any thing relating to this topic by way of, like, previous crazy stances about stuff that I think it's only the extents of, like, the limits of my, like, truly fantastic imagination, like, I can only have improved upon. So those are my credentials.